All right, everybody, we are live. Welcome back to another Pokemon Rants. Today, we're with Nick, so sharpen your pencils, have a seat as Nick takes us back to old school with only Pokemon on the whiteboard. This man has a wealth of experience in the hobby and probably processed more single cards than any other person that's ever lived. So, with this knowledge, and of course, now using the cutting edge technologies such as eBay Lives and much more, let's sit back, relax, have a great time, and talk about some Pokemon. Nick, welcome to Pokemon Wonder.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Loved the intro, knocked out of the park. So thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You deserve much more. Hopefully, we'll uncover some more gems as we go through the conversation.
Absolutely. I'm excited. You've been doing some awesome podcasts. I've been I didn't know I knew you did one with Dan a while back, and I watched that one. And then for whatever reason, I hate to say it, but I didn't subscribe to your channel. So I didn't know any of the other ones popped up until we started talking about me coming on. And then I've been going back and watching all your old ones, and you've got some good ones out there. I've been enjoying
Thanks, man. Thanks. Well, you got about 30 hours worth of content to catch up on. So sort some cards and turn me on and have a good time, right? That's right.
Exactly.
Looks like we got Dan and the raid here. So thanks, Dan. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you coming over. Enjoy. Looks like we got Walrus, we got Chef, we got BB, Shadowless Jack, Shovels. Everybody's here. E-Unit, Pokey Kid. We got Shiz, iFOMO, of course. Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for joining in. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I don't think anybody knows you, Nick. So we have to do an introduction just to kind of, let people know who you are. But now tell us, the background, Nick. Just kind of give us a quick intro because I've looked through, and you got a lot of podcasts between PokeFlips, yours, being on Dan's. It's going to take me years to catch up on all those podcasts, and I'm trying. But the origin stories are some that I can't find in the weeds of the haystack here. So fill me in, man. Where do we get started on Pokemon for you?
So I'm 31 right now. So typical 90s kid, grew up with Pokemon back then. Started out with the anime, and then got into the cards when they came out. Unlike most people, I never played the video games. I never had a Game Boy, so I never played the video games. For me, growing up, it was just watching the anime every day before school, after school, and then collecting the cards a little bit. Never had like an extensive collection growing up as a kid. But every once in a while, my mom and dad would buy me packs. I remember one Christmas I got a Brushfire theme deck and was so excited for that, thinking the Charizard could be in there, only to find out it was a stupid Ninetales.
Which is your favorite Pokemon now, which is ironic, right? So, no damage Ninetales is your number one.
Well, so the no damage Ninetales is number one. That's one of my favorite cards. Favorite Pokemon though is Squirtle, which most people do think it's the Ninetales because that's my logo. But that's just because of the no damage Ninetales. That's probably what I'm most known for. So I think that goes well. So yeah, I was into it as a kid growing up. I actually vividly remember, like my most vivid memory of Pokemon, kind of sad, but is when I got out of the hobby. It was I remember me and my mom went to Walmart. Team Rocket had just come out. So I saw all the Team Rocket packs at Walmart, and I begged my mom to get me one of those. So she finally did, luckily. We paid for it, got out to the car, and ripped it open, only to find all these weird looking new Pokemon with all the dark Pokemon. Probably pulled some non-holo like Rainbow Energy or something. So
that's it. I'm done.
that was the end of Pokemon for me. So it really just lasted base Jungle Fossil, and then quick got out of it. Went into Yu-Gi-Oh for a little bit, not very long.
I'm sorry.
And then really just kind of forgot about TCGs and all that until 2009. I was
Okay.
or,
Okay.
yeah, 2009. I was cleaning out my room, and I wanted some new video game at the time. My parents wouldn't buy it for me at the time, so I was cleaning out my room one day.
This sounds like a reoccurring theme.
Yeah, I was a very deprived child. No.
You get nothing, Nick. You get nothing. So you're up there selling your stuff on eBay, trying to buy yourself your video games.
Yeah, pretty much. It was I stumbled upon my old childhood collection, cleaning out my room. And at the time, my dad was selling coins on eBay. So I knew about eBay from him. And for whatever reason, I stumbled upon my old childhood collection. And for whatever reason, I thought to myself, hey, maybe these cards are worth money. Maybe I can sell these cards to buy whatever video game at the time. And so I went to my dad, said, hey, can you help me list these on eBay as an auction? He said, sure. So I went through, tried to organize them as best I could. At the time, I didn't know anything about Pokemon. So I organized them the way I could, took pictures of them, typed up a nice listing, listed it as a 7-day auction. And I just remember coming home from school every single day and hopping on eBay, checking out the listing, checking out how many views there were, the watchers, answering questions, looking at the bid history. And it was just such an adrenaline rush. And it was really exciting for me. So 7 days later, the lot finally sells for like $20-25. Really not much. But that got me hooked on the selling
really?
side.
Okay.
And so I immediately went into thinking about, well, instead of buying this video game, let me take that $20-25 and see what else I can sell. So luckily,
did your dad plant that idea?
No, that was all me.
Okay.
So luckily, a few days later, me and my dad went to one of his other coin shop friends who he used to buy like wholesale coins through. And sitting on the back shelf was actually a 2-player starter deck display case of the Pokemon base set. And so I was talking with the owner, told him that I was told him that I had sold my childhood collection, was looking to sell something else. I knew Pokemon a very little bit. So I said, so I thought, why not try and buy this, break this down and sell this? So luckily I was able to buy that was $50 at the time. So I paid $20-25. My dad paid the rest, which was awesome. Got home, broke those down. At the time, I do not know anything about Pokemon. So I'm thinking these starter decks all have different cards in them. It wasn't until I opened all 8 of them that I knew they had the exact
You realized
same
you're
cards.
like, oh crap.
But yeah, broke them all down, made them into nice like presentation display pieces with binders and sleeves and all that stuff, and eventually sold all those off. And then that was kind of the beginning of my eBay journey. From there, it was looking on eBay for different lots to buy, break down, sell the individual cards, and just kind of snowballed from there. All through
nice.
Yeah, all through high school and college. About halfway through college, got to be a little bit too much between working or going to school full time, working part time, and trying to do this eBay thing on the side. So about halfway through college, I told myself, I'm done with eBay, done with Pokemon. I'm going to be graduating college, getting a real job. I'm not going to be doing this anymore.
Forget this silly stuff.
Yeah, forget all this nerdy stuff here.
I'm going to go work on a ship in the middle of the ocean for months at a time, right?
Exactly.
That's a real job. Yeah, which I think is a perfect transition, because I was curious. Tell me, what were you doing on the ship? Like, and how did you get from selling Pokemon, and what was your degree actually as well? So you went to college for what?
Yeah, so I went to Mass Maritime Academy.
Okay.
And the degree is actually called marine transportation. And so basically it's working on ships. They have 3 departments on ships. You have the engine room, so all the engineers. You have the steward department who does all the cooking, and then you have the deck side, which that's the side that I was on. Basically, for people who don't know anything about that, it's basically the people who drive the ship. That's the simplest way to explain it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's actually what you went to school for. You went and worked in the workforce, and you did that for how many years?
So I graduated school in 2015. And luckily I pretty much immediately got a job out of school. Started out as a third mate, which is like the lowest officer ranking on the deck side of the ship. And then moved up to second mate, which is kind of the next position up there. Basically worked on a few different ships from 2015 up until the end of 2020. So five years doing that, which that was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed most of my time away working on the ships, getting to travel the world, see all these different countries. I've always loved being on the ocean. So that was a really fun job for a long time until COVID. COVID absolutely ruined that job for me.
Was it just cargo ships? I mean, what kind of ships? Because obviously it wasn't military. So
no, it wasn't military. It was all civilian. So I started out working on a ro-ro, it's called. It's basically a big car garage on a ship. So we were transporting cars from east coast of the United States over to northern Europe and back. So I did one trip on there, and then my second job was on a container ship running from Houston to Puerto Rico. And then where I spent most of my time was on a heavy lift ships. So basically you have 3 big cranes on the ship, and they call it tramping. So basically we have no set schedule. We don't have any destination. It's basically whatever kind of contracts the company can pick up.
Just kind of sit at sea and wait for contracts to come in.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. There was definitely some times where we were like just drifting in the middle of the ocean, waiting for something. We'd sit at anchor for a little while, waiting for something. But we would do a lot of military contracts. So carrying all kinds of like the Blackhawks and tanks, and we actually did a few trips carrying Ospreys, which those were really cool to see. Cool. So that was fun.
Tell me, was it just a big drink fest when you actually weren't working on the ship? Is that what it really? Because that's what they portray it as on TV. Just everybody's just drinking all the time, singing songs. Is that the way it was?
Unfortunately, it's not like that. So when you're out at sea, there is zero drinking. But then when you get into port, obviously you can get off the ship and do whatever you want. So yes, you could drink then, but then while you're working 12-hour days, 7 days a week. So you really can't drink too much when you're out there, because when you're in port, that's also when you're also working the hardest. That's because the ship doesn't make money just sitting around. So they want you to get in and out of port as quickly as possible. Right. So you got to kind of balance that. It's not all fun hanging out, drinking all the time.
Take a couple of shots, go back to the ship, get back to work. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
All right. Well, good. That's a good story. I like how we started so far. So that'll lead us into where we go next. Let's jump up on the chat here. So we got Shovels. Thanks, Shovels. Here for Nick. That's all right. You don't have to be here for me, as long as you're here for one of us. That's all that matters, my man. Well, at least one of us. So apparently Dan's bossing people around, even in our lives. So thanks, Dan. Appreciate it, buddy. Good to see you, Mr. Walrus. Let's see, what do we have? Yeah, let's see. Shopping carts, not stuff. Yep, that's true. He admitted it on the stream. It's live now. It's recorded for history.
I'll never be able to live that one down.
All night party, Scared Ernesto. Your thumbnail looks like a drunk uncle visiting Mexico in the 90s. I love it. Yeah, Chef, I didn't think anybody caught that, but good ear, my man, good ear. You were mentioning about having to play Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was apologizing to you for such a terrible time. You missed it, but Jack got it. That's good stuff. Yeah, good to see you, Ryan. Appreciate you coming in, man. Always good to see you with us. Let's see, got a few more here. Oh, Joe. Looks like something's going on here. Brandong. It's like watching the game as well, so enjoy it. Tramping. We define tramping as something else. Yeah, I won't put that one up. I'll leave that one down. My kids may watch this one day. So we got to watch out here. So it looks like Dan said I need to make... not that one. Dan said I need to make sure I give you a hard time for bailing on Houston. Shame on you, Nick. Shame.
I know. It's official. I was on the fence. I did want to go to that one, but I'm in my groove right now with these eBay lives, and then we have Paradox Rift coming out that Friday, next Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I can't make it. I can't take time off right now.
We're gonna get into the eBay live stream obsessions here in just a little bit. So we're gonna uncover the depths of the demon there, and we'll see if we can free you from that and bring you back to YouTube. Bring you back to the other demon. So tell me, so as we dive into the collection piece of this, are you like every other businessman that's been established in Pokemon, where you start off, you're a collector, you enjoy things, you start a business, and your collection just disappears into inventory, and you no longer have anything you actually enjoy for yourself in Pokemon? Is that where you sit today, or do you still actually have a collection for yourself?
It's definitely dialed back a lot. I used to collect a lot more than I do now, but I do still have a collection. I've sold off a lot of it, and I've to kind of fund the business. But there are things that I definitely want to keep in my collection. So theme decks behind me, that's one thing that I'll hold on to for a very long time. Absolutely love those theme deck display cases. Booster packs, art sets of all the booster packs, that's another one. Really enjoy having those, so that's another one that I'm going to hold on to for a long time. And then obviously No Damage Ninetales. That's kind of my third collection that I'll hold on to.
I think you've cornered the whole market in the No Damage Ninetales. You probably bought them all out by this point. You got like 500 of them. You can just keep buying them up.
Well, it was funny. Back in the day, Rusty TCA Gaming had talked to one of the ex-WotC employees that he knew, and she was saying that she thought there were 55 total copies of the No Damage Ninetales, which at the time did seem low. But now, fast forward to now, I just bought my 50th copy, so there's definitely more than 55 out there.
At least six more.
Yeah.
When you see the price go to $10,000 each, then you know he's got them all, guys. That's it. That's it. You're gonna be on those eBay lives. This one's going starting price $10,000. Increased by $1 each.
There we go.
Did you have a collection piece, or one specific piece in your collection that you really treasure the most? What would that be that you still have?
That's a tough one. People ask me that a lot during live streams, and I can't narrow it down to just one. I got it narrowed down to 3. So it would be in no particular order. It would be I have a CGC Perfect 10 Shadowless base set Squirtle. Probably way overpaid for that card, but I absolutely love that thing. So that's one that I really do enjoy. I bought an inverted stamp WB movie promo Dragonite.
Nice.
I've always liked that card because I got one of those cards going to see the movie as a kid. So I've always really liked that Dragonite, and ever since I kind of found out about that card, I've always wanted the inverted stamp. So I finally picked one of those up. Really like that one. And then third would be the
this one
very
here,
first
just
No Damage
inverted, right? Just this one, but
Yeah,
inverted,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. And then what was the third one?
Third would be the very first No Damage Ninetales that I bought. Which I do remember. It's graded a PSA 7 now, and I actually know which copy is the first one. So that those kind of 3 cards would be the last things that I ever sell.
All right. So that's your prized possessions. That's hopefully somewhere you can see and enjoy it as you get into the depths of your inventory and
Yes.
the eBay lives and the singles and the graded, all that stuff that you're pushing out every day. So tell me then, do you actually believe in Pokemon investing? Is that a true thing or just a myth to you?
Pokemon investing.
Because you do have distribution, right? And so so you actually get all the recent sets. Do you put any of those back for the potential future of higher value?
So I never did up until the beginning of Sword and Shield. Beginning of Sword and Shield, I started putting 2 cases of booster boxes aside, and then as my allocations grew with Scarlet and Violet, I'm starting to put 4 cases aside. So I do believe in the whole sealed investment thing. But I also think you can do better just buying and selling. Obviously, you need to have a lot more time to do that. So if you're someone who doesn't have the time, maybe just buying things, setting things back is better. But if you do have the time, I think you're better off doing the whole flipping route. Because you have the quote unquote guaranteed margins then, buying things at 60-70% of what they're worth, selling them for 90 to 100% of what they're worth. So you're making that guaranteed percentage. Whereas with the investing route, I do think these sealed products will go up over time, but there's a lot more risk to that.
Okay. And yeah, I want to ask you one more, but Mr. Walrus, I think had a chime in here. Says, man, can't remember what he had for lunch, but he remembers one card out of 40. Hey, man, some things just sit in long-term memory better than others.
Yes, you gotta have your priorities. Yeah, lunch just isn't a priority.
That's right. And I won't make a comment because mine will be with the things my wife tells me that I forget too often, and I'll just leave those off the table for this conversation because she will watch this live. So I will not comment on that. But I know at some point in time in the past, you were actually collecting, at least if I'm not mistaken, 1 booster box each as well of all the old booster boxes, WotC sets and everything. Do you still have those or did you sell them all off?
So I was kind of doing that. I didn't have many of them. I only did base, jungle, and fossil. Or no, I'm sorry. I had 2 base, 1 fossil. And I wanted to get a jungle to kind of have the first 3 sets. I never did end up getting the jungle. But then with 2020, when I got back home so I was on the ship from June of 2020 through the end of November 2020. So during that whole craziness that happened with Pokemon, when I got back home from the ship, that was one of the first things I did was sell all 3 of those boxes.
But that's also about the time or shortly thereafter that you said, I'm going to go full-time into Pokemon, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I was all kind of happened at once. Okay. And going back to that for a minute, because I did forget to ask that question. What was the thing that made you stop? You were making far more money in Pokemon than you were at the ship, or what was the one turning point for you?
No, so if we go back to 2019, middle of 2019, I was working on a ship for 6 months doing Pokemon. So working on the ship, you work 3-4 months at a time, and then you come home and spend 3-4 months on vacation. So I'd work 3-4 months, come back
That's gotta be
home,
hard.
and do Pokemon full time. So it was the best of both worlds. And sometime in 2019 is when I started thinking, okay, long term, 5-10 years from now, I would like to set a long term goal of trying to go full time with Pokemon. Because I did really enjoy
Sure.
it, but I also really
Okay.
enjoyed working on the ship. So that's when it kind of planted the seed in the back of my mind. And then 2020 happens with COVID, and the working on the ship, that trip was just so miserable for me. No countries would let you get off the ship. We couldn't do crew changes
Okay.
internationally. And of course, we were stuck international for like 7 months. So it was super long trip. You couldn't get off at all. And then just looking on Facebook and seeing all like the craziness that was happening with Pokemon.
Hey, I have that
I
card at
had
home. I
such a
have that box.
FOMO, and I wanted to get home so bad. It just made for a super long trip. And while I was working on the ship, I was messaging back home, talking to my mom, talking to my dad, and basically telling them once I get home, I want to I don't want to go back to the ship. I want to try doing this full time. And so I kind of decided while I was still working on the ship that this was going to be my last
This was
trip.
it.
Yeah, yep. I was gonna go full time, and just try it out to see if it would work.
Were
And
you on your
luckily,
own in terms of living conditions, or were you still with your mom and dad at that point? So it was a little bit easier.
yes.
Okay.
I am still with my mom. Yes, yep.
Okay. So that makes things a little bit easier then. So you don't have to come home and then worry about paying all your bills and your rent and
Yes,
all that stuff.
exactly,
Okay. All right.
exactly. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. A lot easier. Very good. All right. So then let's roll it back. Then we were just transitioning out of your love for Pokemon investing, and we're looking then at how do you structure your business. Tell us a little bit about how your business is set up, and how have you changed that over the years. I think you were originally, running this, and I've heard a few times, so you don't have to go too much into the repetitive detail. I know you tell this story 1,000 times, but you went into this a little bit with a sole proprietorship. You're running out of your personal bank accounts. Realized that was a bad idea. You finally got yourself a business bank account. You've hired people to do your accounting perspectives and taxes. But how is it set up now, and how have you transitioned over the past couple of years?
So, like accounting wise, it's still the same. Sole
Okay.
proprietor, accountant, business checking, all that stuff. But as far as like actual business wise, I've always been grinding 99-cent singles.
Right.
That's kind of
Right.
always been my bread and butter. I look at Rusty TCA Gaming back in the day, how he had 10,000 eBay listings, and that was always something that I wanted to get to. So that was kind of my business model up until just recently. Started so selling singles, getting more and more into modern, doing mass openings of modern sets, selling every single card as singles. I branched off into TCG Player for a little bit of time, selling singles on eBay and TCG Player. And then this year has really been a kind of pivotal year for my business wise.
Mm.
It's been an absolute roller coaster of a ride. Beginning of the year, I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll cut back on eBay and do more in-person shows, because I had a really successful time at Orlando. So that
Yeah.
was kind of a thought that entered my mind. And then a couple months later, eBay reached out to me about the eBay Lives, and that was something that I really wanted to get on board with. So I hopped on board with the eBay Lives, and I was doing these 99-cent singles with the lives, and that just got to be way too much for me. So I actually ended up giving up those 99-cent singles. So for the most part, my
Mm.
eBay store went from, it was like 2,500 listings at the time. Now I'm down to now I'm down to like 700 listings. And for the most part, all of my single cards are gone. I do still have some listed, like some that are high quantity, a couple dollars that
Right.
sell fairly well. I do still have those listed, but for the most part, I'm done with the low end singles and just focusing on higher end graded cards and the live streams now.
Yeah, so I see 822 items here. Yeah, sitting at your current eBay.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were the man of crunching through the singles for years, and
Mhm.
that's what you were known for.
Yep.
Um, why this shift other than time? Do you see better profit margins where you've headed to with eBay Lives and the graded cards and high dollar profits?
Yeah, so it was kind of eye-opening for me. The biggest thing is the time factor.
Yeah,
Doing the live 6 nights a week is rough.
that's a lot. I want
Um,
to talk about that.
yeah, so we won't talk about that too much, but that was the biggest factor. The second biggest factor was actually pulling my sales history for the month of July and halfway through August, and looking at, okay, what percentage of my sales are coming from eBay Lives? What percentage are
Mm,
coming from $5 and more cards? And what percentage are coming from sub $5 cards? And at the time, it was like 65% of my total sales were through the lives. And then another, I forget, it was like 25 to 30% were coming from greater than $5 cards. And it was only like 10-15% of my total sales were coming from
wow,
these sub $5 cards. So
wow.
the 10-15% was a decent amount of money. It was still a couple $1,000s. But it was not worth it. Because that takes up the most amount of my time. So it was a very easy, it was a really hard decision to make, giving that up, but it was also a really easy decision to make because I needed to do something. I could not continue the way I was.
To do both. I mean, because it was fine
Yeah.
before you did eBay Lives, right? So you were happy with that
Yeah, if I had
before,
never started
right?
eBay Live, I would still be doing singles. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And that's interesting because it obviously you've invested for years, and I think I still see the inventory sitting behind you in singles for years to build that position because it takes a lot of time and money and effort to have such an inventory to be able to provide so many wealth of singles that people are going to come to your store, and then to make that switch. What are you going to do with it all now? You're just going to wait until they're all
So
$10 singles? Just wait it out. But then you're
no,
gonna
so
get
I
back into
actually
singles because the price has risen. Okay, I get it. I get it.
I actually, so the boxes here behind me, I cannot point, but the boxes here behind me, that's all like excellent played condition WotC stuff. Stuff
Okay.
stuff that I just can't sell that stuff yet because it people don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay much for it. So it's just not worth it right now. So that stuff's gonna sit back.
Hold it.
I have a good bit of like mint condition WotC first edition and shadowless. That stuff I held on to because I would like to eventually grade that stuff. But then there was a lot that I either just like modern wise, commons, uncommons, I just threw into bulk boxes and I have those just sitting around to eventually bulk out to a bulk buyer. All of my WotC like near mint stuff I actually sold off to someone
Mm,
just recently. So that's all gone now. So yeah, that was another tough thing,
okay.
actually packing all
Okay.
that stuff up and selling it off. But yeah, I figured instead of just having it collect dust, might as well get something out of it.
Agreed. Brad G says this man sold a TCG player for 3 whole days. Surprise he brought it up.
Yeah, TCG Player was
Uh,
short lived.
yeah.
It was about a year on TCG Player, but the back end of TCG Player is just so bad.
So it's very
Um,
archaic. Very archaic. Compared to eBay or really anything else.
yeah,
Literally,
exactly.
it feels like you're on AOL and you're dialed in using a CD-ROM. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Exactly.
Thankfully, Shopify at least makes it a little bit cleaner because everything flows over to Shopify if you got them all integrated. But yeah, it's still a pain. Still a pain. Nick's going to be on TikTok Shop in mid 2024. Ooh, did you sign up? You know they had those big signups here recently. Did you jump on for TikTok?
So I never had a TikTok until yesterday. Actually, finally signed up for TikTok. Hopped on there to check it out, and they're doing really good things with the lives.
Is that after you lost 8 hours swiping through videos? It's like, what just happened? I spent $1,000 and 8 hours are gone. This is awesome. I need to get on here.
But no, they're doing really good things with the lives. But I'm sticking with eBay. I think eBay is going to be the way to go.
Okay. All right. And that's where you're 100% invested now in terms of platforms. You're not also selling anywhere else today? Is it still just eBay by itself?
Yep. Just eBay.
All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Wonder. How would you honestly rate the Secret Labs chair in terms of comfort and value? Well, I've had this one for about, as you can see, it's worn a little bit here. I got black stuff falling on the floor about every other day now, but I've put this thing through really good use. Still very comfortable. I would buy it again. If I'm going to buy another chair, I've had all the different chairs through corporate America and different office jobs. This would be the one that I'll buy again. So I'm not sponsored in any way at this moment. Maybe if Secret Labs wants to sponsor me, I wouldn't say no. But yeah, it's a good chair. Grab it. All right, got some love here for you, Nick. The fire, the King Nick.
Oh, thank you. Good to see you in here.
Let's see, Nick. Love the eBay live streams. I think I've said 1,000 times since you've been on. Yeah, I saw Chef in there today. Yeah, I think I saw Chef in there today. The man's always cooking up something good, though. Always. Yeah. Now, here you actually were on Whatnot. I think I saw you mention this quite a long time ago, 2 years plus. You were actually already selling on Whatnot. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So what happened?
I was on Whatnot. I don't think it was right when they started, but it was fairly early on. And I really did like it. I love the whole live streaming aspect, being able to interact with people in real time. It makes selling cards so much easier. You don't have to take pictures. You can just show the card, point out anything that's damaged on it and all that stuff. Yeah. I left Whatnot, though, not because I didn't like the platform, but because I wanted to keep everything on eBay. That was the biggest reason why I left Whatnot, is I wanted to keep all of my sales on eBay to try and eventually get to the point where I was doing enough sales that I can get some type of recognition from eBay.
Okay. And this, I mean, obviously you probably got top seller status and discounts pretty early on. So what is it you were trying to achieve at that point? Just the actual community of buyers to get the reputation? Or was it more a better deal with eBay?
Either the following on eBay, kind of growing like my buyer pool on eBay.
Okay.
That was a big part of it for sure. Instead of having it kind of split off into two separate areas, but then also trying to get contracted rates with eBay.
Okay. Well, that's how you got them worked in to get your contract with the eBay Lives. We'll talk about that though. They snuck in and say, Nick, you've been with us since you were 8 years old, my man. So come on over. We got you in our pockets at this point. So thanks. I'll take that as a compliment. I hope. Wayne Gretzky, I'll take that as a good thing. Apparently a few others like Wayne, so I'll definitely take that as a compliment. Thank you, Nissan. King Nick again. King Nick. They love you here, man. They love you. Let's see. Dual stream. Let's see. Dual streaming. Nice, man. What's the other stream that you're watching? All right. So he's going to keep going until gives him 0% fees. Then he'll jump over and say, I love TikTok. TikTok's is the only one I'm going to sell on. It is the best platform. Yeah, I can see that coming. I can see that coming. All right. So tell me then, where are you headed? This year sounds like you've really gotten yourself shaken up. The path you've been on for many years probably threw you into some mental turmoil as you had to really shift your business strategy, shift your inventory, shift your selling approach, shift how you're actually getting content out. What's now your goals? What are you shooting for in the business as you look forward?
So it has been a tough year for sure. There's been a lot that's changed. For everything from like what I'm sending off to be graded. Now that I'm doing these lives, I can send a lot more stuff to be graded. And then just the whole like buying and selling.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm so focused on the lives right now. The ultimate goal is to just continue with the lives. Reach a point where I'm basically just selling through lives. I can sell so like right now during the week I really can't sell like high-end items like above $50 just because of the amount of
Okay.
viewers who are in the live stream. On the weekends, that's when I can kind of do my premier eBay lives and kind of do those $50 to $200 cards. So I would like to eventually reach a point where anything $200 and below sells through these eBay lives, and then anything any card like $200 and above gets listed as a buy it now on eBay.
Okay.
And I'm getting towards that point already, which is awesome to see. But it'll just take time in terms of eBay getting more buyers on the lives.
Because I mean, it's still a private program, right?
Yes,
it's not open to the public. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not yet. It's still in beta testing right now.
Okay, all right. How does distribution work into this for you now? Because obviously the distribution model, to some degree, maybe not fully, was better supporting your singles approach. Now, what are you doing, a box break with it? Then you're still selling some sealed. I mean, how is distribution really a part of your business strategy?
So that was something I never thought I would get into. I never thought I would be a pack opener. I just being the fact that I was doing so many mass openings of these sets.
Right.
And then also it's like I don't consider myself exciting enough. When you pull just like when you don't pull something really good, like the biggest.
What do you say? What do you do?
I just don't think I'm exciting enough to do that.
Oh, hollow. Congratulations, John. You lost $300.
Exactly. But when I started the lives, that was something that I started doing, is I started selling modern packs. And that's actually become a big part of my
Really?
my
Okay.
lives is ripping packs for people.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. I'll do
Okay.
2 hours worth of auctions, and then I'll do anywhere between 2 and I've done up to 6 hours of ripping packs. So
On
that
the
there
same
is a
day?
massive demand for it. And I'm going through a ton of modern packs.
Wow. Okay. Are you doing that on the same day? You'll do auctions and then you'll jump in and then you'll do right behind that pack openings, or this is different days?
Nope, same day.
Wow.
It's usually between 2 and 4 hours. So those 6 hours are very rare occasions.
Okay.
And I'll only allow those on the weekend when I don't have to wake up at a certain time and start packaging orders the next day.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I didn't think about it like that. I didn't realize there was that much happening already on eBay Lives for modern pack openings. Okay. That works out well for you then.
Yeah.
See,
Yep.
Can we convince Nick to get a spin the wheel? Not only were you not gonna open packs on live stream, but now you're gonna have spin the wheel, Nick. That's perfect. You add that. I'm gonna jump down a few comments here. If you add that, Nick, with a mullet, you're gonna be number one. Number one, man. You see it
There
right
we
here, buddy.
go. That's how to
That's
do
the,
it.
that's
That's how
the
to do
magic combination. Magic combination. Hey, Greeny, got one for here for Nick. So what are the two first things that come to mind when making suggestions to sell on eBay live streams to make it a better experience?
Um,
By the way, you
biggest
stole
issue.
my question for later, Greeny. So thanks a lot. You're ruining it, man. But thanks.
Ruining the whole flow here. So there are still some minor bugs that will hopefully get fixed here fairly soon. But outside of that, I really think the biggest thing is they really need to work on the like homepage to eBay Lives. I don't think that looks good at all right now. I think I don't know exactly what to. I'm not creative, so I don't know what they can do to make it better. But they need to improve that and make it better. And then just bringing more awareness to the eBay Lives. Just having that little button in the upper right of the eBay homepage is not enough. They need to start running ads and start bringing buyers onto the lives. And
Right.
but I think that'll come. Like I said, eBay Live is still in beta testing. So I think that'll come once they kind of build that foundation of actually making it work 100% of the time.
Okay. Okay. If it was, and I'm not sure which direction he was looking for, so we'll go ahead and take both perspectives. What about as the person doing the live? What are two of the things that you would actually suggest to make that more successful when you're actually performing the live yourself?
Oh,
just in case he was thinking about that direction.
Yeah. So what the biggest thing for me is not being an overhyped channel, not screaming and yelling at people like some sellers on Whatnot do, and then not complaining about pricing. Saying this is a $50 card. You guys took it, you stole it for 30 or whatever the case may be. People
Okay.
come into the lives to have a good time. You really do build up a community of people who come into the live streams every single night. And if you want to be successful with them, you need to have them have a good time. So you can't be complaining all the time,
right,
and talking bad about the prices and how things should be selling for more. It's all an average game.
right.
Some things that I sell go really, really cheap, but then other things that I sell go pretty high. Most of the time it's about normal. But if you average everything out over the course of a week, a month, a year, whatever, it all averages out to what stuff should typically go for.
Yeah, I was watching when I joined your live today. And by the way, going back to your previous point on eBay's improvements, the way that I usually join your lives is because it pops up as a notification. It's not because I'm in eBay doing something. It's because it pops up, hey, Nick's live. I'm like, oh, okay, let me go check it out. And that's the way I join your lives. Otherwise, if I'm already like working in eBay fulfilling orders or something, I don't even see it. So to your point, yeah, it's definitely some improvement there. But I jumped in today and I was watching, like, for example, you were selling a Lucario from Shining Fates or Hidden Fates. I forget which one. Yeah, Hidden Fates. And I looked at it. It's like, okay, that's like a $40 card sold for 17. I'm like, oh wow. And you're like, hey, that was a great pickup, you know? And
Yep.
So back to your point about making it fun, like they got a good deal. And then I watched some other things sell for, double the price. So it was like, okay, that worked out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I think we took the inverse perspective, Greeny. We were going for compliments here, and then now we're jumping straight back to the insults. Hi here from Austin to you. Austin says hi to Nick.
Hey, freak. That's his name on eBay Live. I don't know him as Austin.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's actually why I saw somebody say "Hey, freak" earlier. I was wondering. I was like, "Wow, that's kind of rude." So brick and mortar, you guys, everybody here has been watching some of the lives, and I think they're just anticipating my direction here on questions. I might have to So changing some things up here. But I've actually wondered this, and I took it off my list because I figured that would not be in your wheelhouse for now. But are you going to look at brick and mortar? Have you thought about it?
That was something I was looking into the beginning of the year. Doing these conventions, possibly looking into not so much as like an actual storefront, but like a storefront / office that I could use. Now it's not so much a thought.
Okay. Brad. when I made the comment, shift how you get content out. He's like, yeah, he took the easy way out. I did meet Gary myself at Charlotte Collecticon. It was great to see him. Had a small chat. Took a quick picture, just for personal uses. But I'm sure you also engage with Mr. King Pokemon himself quite a lot, Nick.
Yes,
from time to time. Yeah,
I have known him forever. He is one of the nicest people in the hobby. I have nothing but good things to say about him.
Yeah, I liked him a lot. He's super nice. It was the first time I got to meet him, so I really enjoyed that. It was a short conversation, but it was a good one.
Yep.
Now, if both you and Dan both run a mullet, I will be so happy. I'll take screenshots. I'll make a picture here in the background. It'll be something of something to. I'll have like a glow of the angels behind the mullet. It'll be perfect.
There we go. I like it.
I love it. No, don't get mad, Greeny. Don't get mad. Like I said, I'll let it slide, man. I'll let it slide. Stealing my interview questions here, man. Tell me, are you buying anything now outside of distribution? With your current approach, are you still buying up collections, graded lots? What's been some of your buying strategy now that you're shifting the business a little bit?
I've been buying a lot this year.
Okay.
Everything from, so obviously distribution, been continuing to increase my numbers there. Like collection wise, I've bought a few big collections, August and September. And then obviously walking around at Collecticon, in both Charlotte and more so in Long Beach. I went to Long Beach to vend, but then I also wanted to buy stuff for the eBay lives there. And luckily I was able to go home with a ton of slabs, mainly
Nice.
slabs, not so much raw cards, but I did a ton of buying in Long Beach, bought a decent bit in Charlotte. And so now I'm kind of dialing back the buying a little bit and just focusing on the selling.
Okay. I mean, you probably built up a decent amount of inventory. Were you doing buyouts of just entire booths, or you were hand selecting kind of what you wanted?
Mainly, so like Brad, he sold me a bunch of stuff.
I was going to ask you, did you buy out Brad G? Yeah.
Not everything that he had, but he sold me a good bit of stuff. And then BB, he's Pokemon Pokey BB. He sold me a bunch of stuff there too. And then just other people walking up to the table. Hey, are you interested in buying? Take a look at what they have. Luckily, there was a few people who came there with a whole bunch of slabs that they were looking to sell. So I was able to make some deals on those, which was nice. So it was in Long Beach and Charlotte. It was a lot of people coming up to my table and just asking, are you looking to buy? And I would say yes to everyone pretty much. And then obviously there was a few people who knew I was coming to Charlotte, so they brought stuff down with them to sell to me, which was nice.
Okay, good. And it was good seeing you there. I know I was trying to catch you. You were super busy. I walked by a few times. You were always engaged and said, I don't want to bother him. But at least we got to chat for just a minute. So it was good to see you there.
That was nice meeting you there for sure.
Yeah, I was trying to catch a little bit of everybody. I missed a few people, unfortunately, but it was definitely good to connect with a lot of the Pokemon family there. Tell me then, what tools are you using, if any, Because it sounds like since you're focused just on eBay, the lives, maybe you don't have as quite as many, but do you have any tools in your tool bag that you use to help you sell, prepare? I mean, is there any kind of back end stuff that we don't see that's a game changer to run your business?
Not really.
Okay.
The the um the biggest thing is just being like scanning stuff. That's obviously important.
Yeah.
Being able to scan 4 PSA cards at the same time, that saves a tremendous amount of time. Which that's just a little plastic piece that Pokey Weaver or Pokey Dreamer makes for
Mm,
scanners, and then also scanning single cards. I have a Fujitsu card scanner.
okay.
That makes life so much easier. It's very expensive, but it just makes life so much easier because it auto scans everything. Kind of like if you're scanning like documents, you just
Right.
load all the documents into the feeder. It scans them all, auto crops them all. So it makes
Nice.
that portion so much easier. But aside from that, it's nothing too groundbreaking, I guess.
You know, Dan, he's not like you. He's not going to stand behind the paywall and hide all the secrets. He's a giver. He's a giver, Dan.
I'm an open book over here.
One of the things I was really interested in, and you may not be able to tell me, but I would like for you to at least estimate how many cards, single cards, pass through your hands in a year.
This year's a lot higher than normal. I was looking at my year to date eBay numbers for this year, and I'm already up to 38,000 items sold. So that would be the individual cards. Obviously, you have
Okay,
people buying 5, 10 at a time. But I was absolutely blown away by that number.
thirty-eight
Last
thousand.
year
Wow.
it was around, I want to say it was like 18 to 20,000 last year.
Okay. Wow. Wow. And do you think that's going to continue on this trajectory for you? I mean, obviously, at some point, you reach a limit of your personal time and being able to fulfill the orders, but do you see that maintaining, or do you think this was a bit of a fluke because it was just eBay Live and you're one of the few that's on there now? What do you think?
I think it will increase. I think it'll
Mm,
actually, I think it'll dramatically increase next year. Just because of, I'll have a whole year on the lives, whereas this year I just got started the beginning of June, and then I started doing 6 days a week the beginning of July. So the first half of the year was just my eBay
mm,
store and
okay.
auctions that I would run and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I think I will see a dramatic increase in the number of items, even going into next year.
Congrats, man. I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
Mm.
That's awesome. Well, I think that leads quite well into RB's. I'm trying to get to everybody's questions, but kind of weave them into the conversation. So if I missed anything, and you can see that I'm already down too low in the thread here, feel free to repost your question if I accidentally missed it. This weaves really well into RB's question. With this kind of a growth, do you see the market slowing down? Do you see any downfall over this next couple of years? Because you're moving quite a lot of product. You have a lot of engagement. In other areas, you're talking to many people in the hobby. You're going to collecticons. You're seeing what's on the floor. What's your perspective?
Um, I think I have a better perspective now with the lives than I did just selling on eBay. Because selling on
Hmm.
eBay, you don't get to interact with your customers at all. It's really just business transactions happening. But now
Dan's favorite type of transaction, just a business
yeah,
transaction.
Dan doesn't like to interact with people. Um, Now I actually get to see and talk to people who are buying these things on a nightly basis, and kind of get an idea on how much passion there is for Pokemon and how passionate these people are for
Hmm.
collecting whatever they like to collect. And the market is just like the number of people in the market is just absolutely mind-boggling.
Right.
I did a back 2-ish month or a month and a half ago or so. I did a first edition fossil box break that was kind of
I
like a
saw that one.
promoted live on eBay.
Yeah, I
And
saw
at
that.
the peak, I had 1,500 people in my
Yeah,
live stream
I
watching.
was happy for you.
That was
I was trying to
absolutely
message you, and it was
insanity.
going so fast you couldn't even see my message. I was like, "Hey Nick, congratulations!" Like, shoot, it was gone. I was like, wow, all
Yeah,
right.
there was no keeping up with the chat that night. So I think the lives and then just going to the collecticons and seeing how much bigger these in-person events are becoming really makes me bullish on the long-term prospects of Pokemon. I do think we are in I do think there's a lot of craziness right now. And I don't think this is going to go on forever and ever. I do think at some point things are going to cool down. But I do think Pokemon is here to stay. And I think long term Pokemon's going to keep doing very well.
What's the craziness you refer to?
Mainly the whole the Van Gogh Pikachus. Just recently we had those. Though
Yeah.
the first PSA 10 copy selling for whatever the price was. 1,500, 2,000, whatever it sold for. The fact that whenever a new card comes out, the first PSA 10 sells for in a crazy amount of money, and then slowly pricing calms down a bit. The whole black label thing with BGS, those cards selling for just such
10
a
times more,
massive amount of
100 times
money.
more.
I don't think stuff like that is gonna last forever.
Do you? I know your dad was into coins, right? So that
Mhm.
was yeah. And but you never got into sports cards, is that right?
No.
No. Okay. Do you interact with anybody or engage with anybody in the sports side? Because I think to some degree, in terms of I would say hobby maturity, we're quite far behind sports.
Yes.
Um, and their trajectory in the present is quite crazy as well.
Mhm.
And it looks pretty bad. And if we're heading on the same path, and if we rewind sports to the similar maturity time frame that we're sitting in, I think we're equally or even more crazy than sports was given that same year of maturity in comparison. And if we're heading down that path, I think we're going to see some more crazy differences between PSA and Black Label or first to markets, and it's gonna be crazy for quite some time. Now, I do think maybe flipping off of the Walmart shelves to make 50%. I think those things are gone, which is good. Lets the kids get a little bit there, but other than that, I think we're still gonna have some room to grow. So I
Yep.
think that's a long-winded couple of answers there, RB. But I think overall we see it very positive.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I've seen the same. Which actually takes it well to go back to now on your business side, the sales. You mentioned the quantity of items. Do you care to share, if it's not the number, maybe the percent in profit over the past year, previous year to current year? If you're not comfortable sharing the actual sales numbers, because I know you used to share it, but then I think you stopped sharing it at some point. Maybe Dan got in your ear. Nick, stop saying all that stuff, Nick.
It does get tricky. I absolutely loved doing those YouTube videos, but then
Mhm.
the last year's one that I did, I kind of felt bad because those numbers are extremely accurate, but they do leave off certain things. So it's
Okay.
not it's like me showing an entire picture, but I'm also not mentioning one other aspect, which I think most people know, but then there's some people who just don't even think about that.
Right.
About going to collecticons and selling these
Right.
cards elsewhere. So I kind of felt bad about those videos. So that's mainly why I stopped doing that. Um,
Okay. I understand.
but yeah,
What
for oh
What? Yeah.
sorry.
What would be then? Maybe if we can then turn that just a little bit, so you might be more comfortable answering. What's your growth in profits from last year to this year? Have you grown
So
20% more? Yeah.
this year I'm actually doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm 30. I'm pulling it up now. 30%. It's a 30% increase from last year. Already, which is awesome. I don't think I'll quite hit 1 million in sales this year, but it'll be close.
Through eBay itself. That was your goal. Yep. But you hit that goal last year? I thought I saw a comment where you actually stated that you hit your goal for 1 million.
No, last year was 690.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But it was still the goal to hit the 1 million mark. So congrats, man. Super happy for you, dude. That's great progress, man. 30% growth too. And I'm sure you're going to finish well. eBay Lives are really kicking it up for you. So I think that's perhaps a smart move other than stuffing, plain white envelopes for 99-cent singles. So
exactly.
Congrats. Let's see. Hey, Mason, good to see you, man. I didn't catch you earlier. Making the most money you've ever made in Pokemon. Better ruin it up. Running a brick and mortar. Yeah. And if you're anything like Rob at RNG-Gamez, just open up another store, a new warehouse, just start over and do it all over again, right? Rob, I don't know if you caught that, Mason, but Rob caught our live and he had a response video to it. Us calling him out for taking a break. Do you know Rob at RNG-Gamez, Nick?
I didn't until I saw the podcast that you did with him, and then I subscribed to his channel.
Okay. Oh, good. At least I helped you to subscribe to somebody's channel.
Yes, exactly.
At least somebody's. Yeah, he's a good guy, man. I like him a lot. Let's see, Nick doing everything possible to get a real job again. With that opposite. Let's see. I got to catch up on the chat here. Keeping it secrets. Yeah, we were there a while ago. Nick has a paywall. You have a paywall, Nick?
I do. Yes, with Pallet Town Pokemon and Crystal Pokemon.
I missed that. Okay.
We do a once a month Zoom meeting, and just kind of talk about what we're buying, what we're selling, different things that are going on in the market.
Okay. Actually, ironically, Greeny wanted to know how the paywall was going. So when did you start that? I didn't realize you had one.
This was, oh boy, maybe 1.5 years ago. It's been a little while, but it's going pretty well. We're kind of I think if we want to grow it, we need to spend more time with it. I think that's the biggest thing is we spend a decent amount of time, but we don't spend a ton of time on it. So I think if we want to grow it further, we need to spend more time with it and do more with it. But I do enjoy it. Still right now, just kind of doing those once a month meetings with them and just kind of talking about the different topics with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, investing that time is always going to make it more valuable for them, and then of course you would be able to get more subscribers or more people following. So I definitely would agree with that. Walrus, Troll and Dan still here. I would hate it if everyone made money, Dan, 2024. And then of course Brad G one-ups that and says, no, as long as they make me $10 a month, that's okay. But Dan has the final go here. He says, no, I root for everyone to make money.
Such the politically correct answer there.
Brad just roots against me daily. Good stuff. One of the things I was curious about, because I haven't done either the eBay Lives, obviously, or Collecticons, where do you see the better profit margins and the better turnouts? Because you were going to go the route, it sounds like, of Collecticons, full-time events, in person, and then eBay Live kind of took over. But where's the better sales, honestly?
So Collecticon is nice because it's similar like buy it now stuff. You set a price and people can negotiate with you, but you can have a hard like the lowest amount you'll accept. So you can make X% on every single item. Whereas with the eBay Lives, the way I do it, at least, I start everything at $1 and let it sell for whatever it sells for. So I think I'm definitely making less money on a per item basis in terms of like a profit, but I'm selling a lot more every single day. So I'm not
Okay.
making the percentage wise, I'm not making as much, but I'm making that up with the quantity that I'm doing.
I see. Yeah. Now, one of the things we'll talk about there is probably going to be repeatability, and I think that's going to be interesting to hear your opinion on. But we before we get there, Shug Nasty's show me your cash flow statement. Mason demands to see your 90-day, on eBay, and then of
90
course,
day, 90 day is
and
90
then
day is high because it's not this high normally, but 90 day is 243,000.
Okay, when I don't know where Pokemon Steven sits. It's ironic that you bring him up because I was talking to Pokemon Steven just the other day as well. Yeah, I think he's crushing it too. He's doing a great job as well.
I think he is doing a lot better than me. He is absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I reached out to him to see if he was interested in coming on a a podcast, and I think his response was something along the lines of, "That sounds like I don't know what to do, and it'd be a lot of work." Yeah, I don't know. I said, "Okay, no worries. I'll come back to you in a couple months. We'll see how you feel then." But no, I like the guy. He's got a very low key personality, but he's fun. I like watching him. So we've talked about the business. We've talked about where you want to go next. Obviously, the position and transition with eBay Live. But what I didn't hear about is how do you manage your finances? Now, you still have an accountant for your taxes, but I've heard you mention many times in your conversations how you dreaded running your monthly end, managing the finances. Are you still trying to do all this yourself? Or do you have any tools in place? Are you just hiring somebody to do it all for you at this point? How do you manage your finances, Nick?
Terribly. I always feel terrible
I knew
talking
you
to
were going to
Dan
say
about
this.
because he is way better at this than I am. No, it's very very archaic. I like when I was doing those monthly videos. That's how I do my spreadsheets every month. And at the end of the year, I have another tab that just sums everything up and spits out a total profit. So it's basically just I don't have very many expenses. So I have my business account, which has the majority of all my business money, and then every so often, it's not like a set schedule or anything like that. I'll transfer money into my savings account. I'll transfer money whenever I need it into my personal account. But it's not the best setup. That is something that I do need to get better with. Kind of getting more rigid with that type of stuff and putting an X amount into my savings account every month, every quarter, every year, whatever, stuff like that. Kind of actually paying myself, taking money out of the business.
I was going to
Right
ask you,
now,
how do you pay yourself?
whenever I need something, I'll
You just take
transfer
it.
money out of my business account. Yeah.
So, ooh, I like those shoes. Transfer. New pair of Nikes for daddy. But you don't actually have a fixed salary for yourself as a general kind of yearly approach. You don't say, "Hey, I'm gonna pay myself 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever the number is."
No.
Okay. All right. As you need it, then.
Yeah,
I like it. I like
that's
somewhat
the biggest
frugal
thing
in a
now.
sense. Yeah. And it gives flexibility. But I'm not sure how does that work on taxes. Not to get too deep into it, but I mean, you then don't necessarily have a fixed income on taxes, but you're a sole proprietorship. You're not an S corp, right? So
yeah, the fixed income would be my profit of the year. That's like, okay, I made last year it was, what was it, 60-ish thousand was the total profit that I showed. So that would be what I paid taxes on for last year.
Okay, but you don't actually take it out. You leave it in the business, I guess is what I was trying to get to.
I take some of that out because I do like to, like, at some point throughout the year, I do like to put a certain amount of money into my savings account. So that
Okay.
I do at some point every year. And then aside from that, it's just transferring money from my business to my personal whenever it goes down below a certain threshold.
Okay.
So I don't think like that. If the total 60,000 that I profited, not all of that is always going to myself. Some of it is staying in the business.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering is how you divvy all that up. And we got a more serious question here though. Is a hot dog a sandwich or a taco? I mean, that's a valid question.
It
Uh,
is a valid question. I'm gonna have to go with sandwich though, because it's got the bread.
okay. Okay. The shape would lean you towards a taco, and it's not necessarily like it's a soft taco because it's soft bread. I'm gonna go with you on this one. So 2 for sandwich, Walrus. 2 for sandwich.
Walrus always asking the hard hitting questions.
Yeah, they actually do have such a thing, flip flap cards. So I'm sure Mason can speak all about it. But they get a lot of privileges to be a brick and mortar, especially as long as you can hold your hosting license there with Pokemon and the other TCGs. You get special packs and get to hold the events and give out different things. So it does give a large kind of benefit to having a brick and mortar, and that's when Mason just scalps it all on eBay and gives it to Nick to sell on eBay Lives. I think this is about the time that Mason heard your 90-day. Yeah, he's questioning his entire life, career, and decisions. He's like, this is terrible. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's see. View is nice at the top, Mason. Yeah, I think that had to be around that time. All right, let's see. Some love for Mason. Yeah, Pokey Steve showing some love there. Yeah, all right, so let's go over now. I want to deep dive into eBay Lives. We've been talking about it for a little bit, but I want to know more because you're the man on the inside. So how did you get into part of this early participation? You were just already in conversations. You were already giving feedback. What was that path for them to reach out to you?
So I was talking with eBay a bit beforehand, and when they officially launched eBay Live beta testing, after the year of premiere events that they did, they have, if you go to I forget where it is, but if you go to the eBay Live page on the website, towards the bottom of that page, there's a seller application, and you can apply to be an eBay Live seller. So I filled that out, and I started filling it out in April or March. I think is when I started filling that out. I filled one out in March. I filled one out again in April. I filled one out again in May. And so I kind of filled that form out a few times. And then I started getting in touch with eBay and asked them, hey, I'm really interested in these eBay Lives. Is there any chance I can get in on that? And luckily they said, yeah, we're actually looking for sellers. So if you're interested, I can put you in touch with the live team. And so then I got in talking with the live team, and then it was only once I finally got in touch with the live team, it was a matter of just a couple of days before my actual first live stream. They had you go through an orientation where they showed you how to use the eBay Live itself. I got in very early on, luckily. So it was like the first orientation that the person teaching us had done. So it was kind of like we're all learning together, which in a way was nice, but in another way it was it was definitely lacking in terms of him teaching us how to do everything. Right. Now it's gotten a lot better, but that was basically how it got started for me. just that quick orientation, and then I actually did a test stream with I did one with Walrus, and then I did another one with Dan, and
Oh,
to
really?
just basically get an idea on how this actually worked, what it looked like on like a buyer's end, how to bid, how to set up stuff, and all that stuff. So it was a little bit of trial by error, and then I set up my first live stream. I remember I was super nervous with my first one, because I did not know if I was going to get a single person in the live stream. Luckily, I did get a couple, which was awesome, and I just absolutely loved it from the get go.
Nice.
So in the beginning, I was doing, I think I started out doing 2 or 3 days a week, and
Okay.
that kind of very quickly turned into
6.
doing 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday.
So, and that's a good transition to the fact that, you're doing this like a full-time job. And you mentioned it's not always, but you're sometimes even running 8 hours a day on streaming. That's
Mm-hmm.
got to be exhausting. I mean, that's not including everything else it takes to run the business, buying new inventory, packing orders, the financial, I mean, just all the different things. So how are you managing, man? How is that not just burning a hole in you and just you're burning out?
It's very tough. That is for sure. I was it's just focusing on the lives right now, and trying to get through this year. That's like my goal right now. Just get through this year, and then it'll get better next year. I'll have like organization in place, so that way it gets easier to kind of pull
Streamline
inventory
it.
for the live
Yeah.
streams. Before starting with the lives, I got myself into a really bad backlog of just different collections that I had purchased over the years and I hadn't gone through. So it's kind of juggling, trying to find time to sort through those collections and deal with all the eBay live stuff. So I think once I kind of get myself into a better rhythm, it'll make things a lot easier. But I want to put 100% into eBay Live this year, just because I am one of the only Pokemon sellers on there.
Yeah.
So I want to
That's gonna be
use this time
short-lived.
to
Yeah.
spend as much time on the live as possible to build up that following as much as possible, and kind of build that live
That's smart.
foundation.
Yeah. Yeah, because once this opens up, a lot more will jump on.
Mhm.
It'll turn into, I won't say the same thing, but something similar to the Whatnot streams. And yeah, having that early access for you has been quite nice. So yeah, I understand your point of leveraging that way you can.
Mhm.
Do you foresee this, and this is my reference earlier to being sustainable and repeatable? The thing with eBay Lives is if you're not doing it, you're not making money.
Mhm.
So I mean, this forces you into a perspective of no time off. Like I can't be sick. Like it's not as bad. Like, hey, I can take a vacation. I'll put my store, is going to be delayed and shipments will be delayed. Message on. Like no, if you're not doing lives, you're not making money.
Mhm.
Do you try to transition yourself into a better balance after this opens up publicly and you see more Pokemon sellers coming in, or what are your thoughts on this?
I do think something is going to have to change next year.
Yeah,
Doing live 6 days a week by
it's a lot,
yourself
man.
is just not possible forever. So come next year, I am gonna think about doing something, either bringing someone on part time to do like one stream a week, or just cutting out one stream a week and going down to 5 days a week. So it is going to be going to have to be something that does change, because right now it is it's a lot of work, but it's manageable. But I think long term, like doing this forever, definitely not possible.
Yeah, yeah. Do you see a lot of benefits in terms of selling and auction prices compared to just the normal eBay? I mean, obviously you're forcing sales because you're doing massive auctions very quickly, so you're going to have a lot of quantity. But if those were to sit and sell, the same card, do you see lower sales in terms of the dollar amounts or higher for the same cards? I know you probably haven't ran too many tests in that way, but what are your thoughts on it?
I don't have any definitive numbers, but I've always kind of like rough, because like when I'm pulling inventory for my streams, I have all my cards organized by price point now. So I
Okay.
have 5, 10, 15, 20, $25 cards. And so I know what the card is worth when I run it. I don't say anything about the pricing, but I know which cards are worth what. And so typically I think I'm getting roughly maybe a little bit less than what I could get through a normal 7-day eBay auction.
Okay.
Which makes sense because it's so much quicker of an auction, and
Right.
you're only selling to those
That are looking
40
at
to
that very
60
moment. Yeah.
people who are in that eBay live for that 30-second time period.
Right.
So pricing wise, I could be doing a lot better selling through regular eBay auctions or even buy it now listings. Because I do think if you want to get top dollar, buy it now listings are the way to go. But the quantity that I'm moving is what
Right.
makes up for making less margin per
Okay.
item.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. And given the backlog that you had, a lot of the inventory that you previously had built up, I mean, it's a good way to move through that. And would that then be a safe assumption to say that your better, higher quality items always stay off to the buy it nows and like maybe even perhaps the longer auctions if need be?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I'll ever get to a point where multi-$100 cards are being sold through lives. I think it's
Yeah.
always going to be sub $100 for the most part.
Okay. I mean, and given the way that you're running it too with the dollar, auctions, I think that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get better fee structures because it's alive and it's in beta in terms of the auctions?
No. So it's the same
Okay.
exact fees.
Mm,
And then it looks so how it works is you're basically you're setting up an eBay auction, the
okay.
exact way you would set up an eBay auction. You're transferring those listings over to an eBay live, and then when they sell, they pop up into your sales history, same as like any other item would. So
Okay.
the fees are the same. You can charge whatever you want to charge for shipping. Everything's the same except for that live aspect.
Okay. So it's really running it all, associate it to a live, and then everything flows back into normal order fulfillment. So, okay.
Yes. Yep.
Got a question here from Alex. Alex is wondering when you're selling your $5 and under cards, do you prefer single card listings or variant listings? What's your perspective there?
I've always liked the single card listings. And I like those because I as a buyer, when I'm looking to buy single cards, I hate seeing those listings that pop up because those multi variant listings that pop up because a seller used to have that card available, but now it's sold out. So you click on that variation listing thinking, okay, maybe the seller has it, and then you scroll through only to find out that seller, it's sold out. So I've never liked those types of listings. I always like doing the individual card listings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same. Yeah. I don't know who you're referring to. I'm guessing Nick because I'm pretty sure I don't look Puerto Rican, but
I am not either.
Yeah, there's the comment from earlier, RB. So yeah, he definitely gets some good benefits from having the brick and mortar. We will get a full room tour video of your place. Yeah, so when we get a full tour video, I saw a picture
There we
actually
go.
on Instagram. I saw a picture of like your corner. I think it's back there, or maybe somewhere. It was just stacked full of like
This
your
corner
inventory.
right here that I'm sitting at is the corner that I was taking pictures of.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be filled with boxes. There's still boxes in the background, but it used to be a lot worse in here. Now I actually have a storage unit
Oh,
where I
okay,
can
nice.
shovel all that junk. But yeah, no, at some point I gotta do an updated like tour of down here
Yeah.
and then upstairs in my actual office. I did one when I was actually making YouTube videos, and it's
A long
completely
time ago.
different now because my whole inventory shifted from the way I organized it before to the way I organize it now. Now it's all about price points.
And not necessarily condition, because it was all probably about condition before. It was
Well,
obviously set, then condition.
yep,
Right.
yeah. Before it was condition and then set. Now it's just what is the value of these cards?
Right. I don't care. Just $5, $10. But I
Yep.
mean, one of the things, and that's why I mentioned it 1,000 times on my streams, that I love about the way that we're doing it with the binder POS integration and those tools that run double updates every 12 hours on market price, is because I don't have to worry about price changes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, right now the swings aren't too high for most cards, but how do you manage looking at cards and actually sorting them by price? Because by the time you do that with, let's say, 5,000 cards, by the time you pull it back out, you got to check prices again, probably, at least on some of it, especially if it's been 6 months or 8 months. How do
Yep.
you manage price changes? I mean, is that just a constant pain or what?
No, so I don't worry about that at all. The
You just
the
do it
whole
when it first
pricing thing is just so I have a rough idea
range. Okay.
on. So like I don't want one stream to be all my expensive cards, but then at the same time I don't want one stream to be all my junk cards.
Right.
So sorting by price just kind of gives me a good range of, okay, what actually do I have in these categories?
Okay.
What should I focus more heavily on? What should I focus a little bit less on? So that way I don't run out of all my expensive cards and just have a ton of junk left, or I don't which will never happen. I don't run out of all my low end cards and have all expensive cards left, because it also depends on like what night of the week it is. Like surprisingly, Mondays are really good on eBay Live. Tuesdays are my worst night. Wednesday starts picking up a little bit. Thursday gets better. Friday's really good. Saturday's the best night.
Saturday's best. Okay.
Yep. So I kind of curate each live based on how many viewers I can expect to get through that night.
And how many do you typically see? And like we had the 1,500 that one day, but how much? What's your average?
Not normal.
What's your average?
So a lot of people, which makes sense, think that the little red number in the top of the eBay Live is how many people are in the stream. That's just the total amount of people who have clicked into the stream. So whether they're there or not, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Usually during the week is between 45 to 50 people. And then Friday and Saturday is the biggest nights, and I've been averaging between 70 and 80 people, and that's active viewers throughout the stream.
I mean, that's people sitting there ready to buy. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's like having 70 people walk up to your booth at Collecticon.
Exactly.
$dollar. You're like, yep. No, please stop. Please stop. So apparently you sold the first card to Mr. Walrus, the Grail. I'm assuming there's a story behind that.
So he was the he bought the first card in the test stream, and then he also bought the very first card that I sold through eBay Live, and I signed it for him and everything.
Nice. What was it? Tell us in the chat if you remember, Mr. Walrus. What was the card? You said it's a Grail, but you didn't say what it was. One of the things I was actually curious about is because I'm looking at all the different people we talk to, of course, in the Pokemon space, but also that come on to the podcast, and I try to dissect how they run the business, what the pros and the cons are, but I also try to dissect how they leverage social media to their benefit. So how are you leveraging Instagram with a lot of your focus and business orientation to be now eBay and eBay Lives? Are you just doing that more for fun, or are you actually trying to funnel people back to your lives? Because I saw a couple of posts with lives, your lives mentioned on it. Is that your strategy with Instagram, or is it something else?
That's another thing that I need to get better about. Is the whole social media thing. Instagram, YouTube. I really want to use those to start promoting my live streams more. Start making posts about, okay, tonight I'm going to be selling all these cards.
Right.
Be sure to hop in the live stream. I've been doing a little bit of that, but it's mainly like an hour, 2 hours before I actually go live. I'll post a quick
Okay.
story saying tonight's going to be all these cards going for sale. Come on by. So I gotta get better about planning ahead of time, and actually getting my live the stuff that I'm going to be selling for that night's live ready in the morning, taking a picture of it, posting it on Instagram, and doing it that way. Just to kind of get more people into the live stream. And then that's been something that a lot of people ask about is can we see what's coming up tonight? So they can kind of, which makes sense. They want to kind of budget and say, okay, if I'm going to be running this one particular card that they really want, maybe they won't buy as much beforehand that they just kind of sort of want.
Yeah, but it's interesting too, because you could be losing viewership because you show them something that they say, oh, I'm not interested in those cards. But if they came in and they're ready to buy and say, well, you know what, I wasn't going to buy that, but now that it's here and it's $1, I'll start. Okay, let me hit the button. It's a bit like, tell me if I'm going to win at the lottery machine before I go, play the lottery. I said, no, just go play. And we'll tell you if you win when you push the button.
Exactly. No, that is something that I do think could happen to some extent.
Yeah.
But I think overall it would be a more of a net positive than a net negative, because for me it's really surprising because I'm so active with the lives. But I still get messages from every single one of my stories mentioning eBay Live. Oh, hey, I never knew eBay Live was a thing. How do I actually get into the eBay Lives? Because like we were saying earlier, that little button is impossible to find unless you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, this is important to tie into that. So since you've been on eBay Lives, how many times have you said dollar in 2023?
It's been a lot of times.
I think it's more than the number of cards you've sold.
It's gotta be.
We got plus 38,000 for sure. So for sure.
Yeah, because that's my little catchphrase after starting every auction. Starting off at $1.
I love it. I should have let you do your introduction as you typically do on your streams. I love it. Hey, it's Nick Old School Pokemon. I love it. I love it. All right. So we got one from Mason here. So they should have stream teams that pull all the audience, like a curated home shopping network channel. Yeah.
That would be
Sounds
cool.
like you got a new job there, Mason. Put in your application at eBay. We'll send you a link. You'll make more money, I promise. Man still gets goosebumps after 20 years. Yeah. Man, it happens though. It still happens. Obviously, you get more comfortable with that, but there's always some event that comes up. Even though you've been selling Pokemon cards this long, been doing eBay since you were 8. There's still points of which we get nervous in certain parts of the career for sure.
Oh, 100%.
It was a Jim Scyther 101.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, that's what it was. Hey, cool. Thanks. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. All right. So now we're going to do something fun. I've changed it a little bit. So I've been working out. Well, I've been working out rapid fire questions, and I've been playing with it. I've enjoyed it, but now I'm going to do it a little differently and add a little twist to it so I can keep it fresh. All right. So the first section, we are going to describe your PokeTubers with 1 or 2 words, and either how you feel about them or whatever word you think best describes these PokeTubers. Okay, so I'm gonna rattle off a couple, and you just kind of give me a word or 2 to describe them.
Oh boy,
you ready?
I'm ready.
Don't worry. I think you'll do better than you did on your Pokemon test. Don't worry. Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles.
A robot.
James at Z&G Emporium.
Ooh. Businessman, not fisherman.
Rusty, TCA Gaming.
Genuine.
Okay. PK, Pokemon Knowledge Cards.
Ooh, PK. What? One word is tough. I'm gonna say Rants for him.
Okay, all right. Nick, PokeRef.
I'm gonna say best. Best PokeTuber.
Okay. Cool Trainer Ryan.
For him, Hoarder.
Real Breaking Nate.
Ooh. One word. I'm gonna say happy. Happy go lucky.
Okay. Yeah, he is. He's always a happy guy. Pokevolt. Sean. Pokevolt.
I actually don't know him very well.
You haven't watched his content?
I saw him on Radar's interview, but that was about it. What can I say about him? I'll say up and coming.
Okay.
Big YouTuber.
Okay. And it's funny you mentioned John. So John with Radar. What would you?
Oh, the next one.
Yeah.
Podcaster. Best podcaster.
Very well. Very well. Next one we're going to jump into are some Pokemon sets. And as of today, current market, would you buy them or not? Your advice.
Okay.
Ready? All right. Paradox Rift.
Paradox Rift. I'm going to say not.
151.
Yes.
Scarlet and Violet. I'm sorry. Sword and Shield Crown Zenith.
Big yes.
Yeah, me too. Brilliant Stars.
Brilliant Stars, I'll say yes to.
Team Up.
Team Up's a no.
Cosmic Eclipse.
That's a yes.
Flashfire.
Flashfire's a no.
Steam Siege.
Ugh, definitely a no.
Jungle.
I'm gonna say yes to Jungle, actually.
Okay. Dragons Exalted.
Dragons Exalted. I'm gonna say no to that one.
Base set.
Base set, yes.
Okay. Now the next one's it's going to be general questions and just try to answer them 1 or 2 words, maybe 3 if you can. Okay.
Okay.
Highest percent profit you ever made on a single sell.
Probably 200%.
Okay. Something like that. Something close to that.
Yeah. I would say something like that.
Unhealthiest meal you've ever eaten.
Oh, what's that place called? Heart Attack Grill in Vegas.
Yep. Favorite country or state you've ever traveled to?
Italy.
Your best friend in Pokemon. In the Pokemon space.
Best friend in Pokemon. I would have to say I'm gonna have to go with Dan on that one again.
The girl's name that you won't forget from high school.
Nicole.
Worst mistake you ever made doing Pokemon business?
Buying a ton of stickers.
That was fun. All right, so we'll transition there into just a couple of personal questions. That was fun though. Thanks for that. So tell me then, on this side of going through this business, you're deep in the hobby. You've been dedicated for many, many years. Um, how is it impacting your well-being? Um, again, we talked about the lives. We talked about how hard it is. People think of you and they know that you grind all the time, and you've been doing it for years. How is that affecting your well-being, whether that's physically, mentally, whatever the case may be?
Um, I honestly, I don't think it's affecting me too much. It's a lot. It's not something that I can continue forever. But at the same time, um, right now, I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have a girlfriend. So I don't mind spending all this time on Pokemon. Because one, it's my job, and then two, I also really enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'm not someone who typically goes out with friends every night of the weekend, or I usually hang out with friends maybe once a month. Get together with
right.
them over the weekend. So I'm not someone who goes out all the time. I like being home for the most part. And so when I'm home, I need to be doing something. I'm not someone who can just sit and watch TV. So when I'm down watching TV, I'm also sorting through cards, pricing cards, whatever. So I'm working at those points, but I don't really consider it work, because it's both work and something that I'm truly passionate
Right.
about. So
I
that
would
definitely
definitely
helps.
understand. Okay. Yeah, that changes the perspective, because if it started to then be things that you dreaded or hated,
Mhm.
it would take a huge mental weight on you. And it's funny how a tremendous amount of work changes the perspective when it's something you enjoy.
Yes,
If you
exactly.
were doing this much work for something you hated just a little bit, you would hate it a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It would
Yeah,
not be possible
right.
if you didn't truly enjoy it.
I fully agree. And Dan, he accepts the compliment. So. Robot, that is, robot. Um, and we just saw it here. We've seen it through pretty much every stream that you're on. You are filled with laughs and joy and smiles, and I don't feel for a second that it's fake. And I think we touched to the point of why, and the fact that you enjoy this. But where does that joy come from? What's behind the joy that you have that just constantly radiates out of you?
Um, I think just enjoying what I'm doing, and where I'm at right now in life, I guess. I'm genuinely happy with how things are going right now. And there's definitely been times where things haven't gone my way and I'm not happy. But I think right now I'm in a good spot, and I like where things are going. Plus it's always been I've kind of always been that, like, happy go lucky person. Um just kind of thinking more on the positives than getting weighed down on the negatives.
Yeah, and one of the things that I forget who the phrase came from, but where attention goes, energy flows, right? So if you're sitting there focusing on the negatives of it or the things you don't like about it, you're going to start to feel pretty bad about it. And you can see just in all the discussions you have and all the conversations, you're just full of joy. And I absolutely love that. So keep it up as long as you can, as long as you can.
Oh, absolutely.
I,
Absolutely.
unfortunately, it looks like you've been called out. You're a liar. You've been whispering in Walrus's ear that he's your best friend in reality, but he understands why you have to say Dan. He gets it.
gotta
Dan,
gotta
Dan's
gotta say the podcast co-host.
they get priority always, right? Always.
uh,
Uh, Dan, be nice, Dan. So I know you're young. I have about 10 years on you, and you probably haven't given it too much thought. But What are you going to do after Pokemon? What do you see yourself going after this?
I have no idea, honestly. I think so. Like we were saying earlier, my dad used to do coins, and he had a coin
Mhm.
shop, and so I've always loved the being your own boss and having your own business and being able to kind of set up your own future. So I think if anything, I can't ever see myself getting out of Pokemon. But I think if I were to get out of Pokemon one day, I think I would probably get back into coins, start buying and selling coins. I can't see myself ever doing something that's not buying and selling related. That's been my biggest passion for such a long time now. I don't know what else I would do.
Well, you got a long ways to go, so no, no worries anytime soon. And I'm sure if Pokemon's not the thing one day, you'll do good and be successful at whatever it is. Because the amount of experience you've had buying and selling things and what that can transpose into in the next steps of your career is really endless.
Mhm.
So I do wish you the best along that journey. We have Mount Silver to face the biggest rival himself, the Pool Father here. I'm not sure what that reference is to. Sorry, buddy. You
I'm
know
not
that
sure on
one?
that one.
Yeah. All right. So we'll end it here with the two questions. The one I have for you is now, obviously, there's many perspectives I could have taken in terms of what you do best because you do so many things very well. But one of the things I've seen, especially now as you transition and you kind of move with the market, is you're able to really make sure you're in a good position financially, even though you joke about not managing your finances well. You are projecting yourself in the business really well, and you continue to shift and move that in a way that allows you to continue this path, to be happy while doing it. And those things are hugely important. So, how would you advise someone to make this journey the most enjoyable but the most profitable if they're starting out today? Today's their first day. What would be your suggestion for them?
Mm, biggest thing is to just know your numbers. Like the back of your hand. Know how much you're into, especially in the beginning. Once you kind of
Mm,
build up, it's not as important. But in the beginning, know how much you're into each individual card. Know how much you're spending on top loaders and penny sleeves and bubble
mm,
mailers and all of that stuff. Um, I remember when I was first starting out, I would literally keep track of everything on an Excel spreadsheet. What I paid for a collection, every time I sold a card, I would record that. I would take off all the fees, take off how much I spent on shipping, and all of that stuff. And it really does teach you. Okay, I can pay X percent on these types of collections, X percent
right.
on these types of collections, so on and so forth. So I would say that's the biggest thing is to actually know your numbers and keep really good track of that in the beginning.
Yeah. And do you think you moved away from that because now it's more of the same for the most part? So you got most of that in the back of your head. So you're not too worried about tracking it these days because you've got the wealth of history behind you. Is that
Yes,
accurate? Yeah.
it's that, and it's also just because once you start buying and selling more and more, it just becomes impossible to keep track of it. Like I would love to be able to keep track of collections and know how much I'm actually making on every single collection, but it's just not possible
Not feasible.
anymore.
So you're going with the Dan approach, dollars in, dollars out, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Looks like we got some context here. So Pokemon Silver's references. So you asked what he was going to do next after Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thanks for that. All right. So then we'll end it with this. One day we will leave the hobby. Uh, Hopefully, as happy as you are today and enjoyable as you are. But when you do, what legacy do you hope to leave when you're gone?
Just kind of like we were talking about earlier, making the hobby welcoming and encompassing for everyone, and being happy and encouraging people when they meet certain collection goals, or when they win that item that they were really hoping to win during a live stream or whatever. Just kind of bringing more joy into the hobby and getting rid of the negativity in the hobby. Life's too short for negativity. Just be happy with where you are, and don't get dull. Don't get discouraged, and what is the word?
Bogged down, or
Yes, bogged down on
yeah.
on just what's going on with other people and other people's collections and all of that stuff.
Very good. Well, my man, this has always been a blast. Really enjoyed it, Nick. Deeply, deeply appreciate your time. We've had a great number of people in the chat as well. Enjoy, of course, engaging with all of you throughout the conversation. And of course, always appreciate your time. If you don't have any Nick's links already for the eBay, the social medias, they're all in the description below. So make sure you check those out. If you don't have notifications on and you're not having him as a saved seller in eBay, make sure you do that so you get that notification when he goes live. And I do appreciate it. And I wish everybody a great night. Make sure you make somebody else smile. You'll feel better for it. And so will they. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody else on the next Rants. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.